one mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Welcome back from the weekend, and welcome into the One Mic with Big Mike show with me, of course, your host, Big Mike, here on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app. Ladies and gentlemen, that is SPREAKER.com, and also for the app, same thing. You can also hear the show live on TuneIn if you want to share it with all your friends if they don't have Spreaker, which I do suggest you get, man. Sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. It's free, just like signing up for Facebook or Twitter or any other social media device. Just go there, sign up, then search for my show, One Mic with Big Mike, and then follow me. That way, when I go live like I am right now, like I do each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock, you get a little alert on your phone or your tablet or whatever you might be rocking, and you can join the show and tell all your friends about it. You can also hear the show live on the website, which is onemicwithbigmike.com. If you don't get a chance to stick around for the entire 2 hours or so, sometimes give or take, you can also hear the show on demand on all four of the outlets that I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and of course YouTube, where you can also get the video stream on demand. The video right now is streaming on my Facebook page, Facebook Live. You can go to www.facebook.com/1MIC, WITHBIGMIKE, to be a part of the show. All you got to do is text this number, 404-902-8104, if you hear anything that you might want to comment on, or you want to ask me about, or you just want to criticize the host. Feel free, 404-902-8104. That goes for my on-demand people, too. You don't have to be listening live to shoot your boy a text. I'll always address them. If not on the current show that I'm doing, you send me something, I'll talk about it on the next show, or I'll address at least the fact that you took time out to send me a text message on the next show. You can also join my live interactive chat room. To do so, you have to be listening via Spreaker, or of course the Spreaker app, or my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. You'll see a little thought bubble icon sitting up there on the streaming player. Just click on that. That's your invitation to the live interactive chat room. You can get on up in there, ask questions. You can goof around with the folks that are in there. The cats that tend to show up in my chat room tend to be kind of ignorant. They follow the tenor of the host. You know what I mean? So you can get on up in there. Or if you prefer to be one of those lookers and watchers, and you're checking me out on the Facebook live stream, you can of course leave your comments below the streaming video on the Facebook page. Make sure you guys also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram as well. We do have a question of the day today. We do have one every day. If Renee can help it, she's going to force one out of me come hell or high water. And it's brought to us by our good friend at sportsnewsandbrews.com. The question of the day is, what is the question of the day? Something like, how do you feel about the backlash that Colin Kaepernick is getting for the comments that he made about Fidel Castro? If you don't know, Fidel Castro, the longtime Cuban dictator, died at the age of 90 this past weekend. I think he died over the weekend. I don't know. I didn't really care. I saw a bunch of Cuban Americans celebrating and dancing in the street because the dude was dead. I was like, all right, sweet. I mean, if you love it, if you like it, I love it, I guess. I probably, terrible things to y'all Cubans, and I'm gonna ride with you, man. I'm not gonna come back on some, I don't know what the hell is happening. What's going on now? I just saw my thing said reconnecting. All right, let me make sure I stay online tonight. Either way, let's get into setting up the show tonight. All right, tonight at the top of the next hour, like I do each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I have a guest, or each and every show that I have a guest, we do this thing called On This Day, where I give you guys some little historical factoids from the past in sports, so you guys can not only be hopefully entertained, but I can bring some education to your world as well. The bottom of this hour, the big homie Ben Troupe, former SEC Gator tight end, second round draft pick for the Tennessee Titans. I think it was in 2004. He's also a Georgia-Florida game Hall of Famer as well, just recently inducted into that joint. He joins us every Monday for this thing we do called Troupe Talk. Just two dudes just chopping it up about what they saw on the gridiron over the weekend. One of my favorite segments. I get to now that we're later in the season, I get to bring up the stuff that Ben has said. And Ben do a lot of media, so I know he don't remember a lot of the ignorant stuff that I said to be like, well, what about that time you said this? So it works out well for me. I end up being able to look right on everything, and I can point out every wrong thing he's ever said. So that's cool with me. I got this segment that I started doing called What You Looking At. If I have time today, I'll drop something in on you today. It's basically about it's basically a segment where I just talk about what I've seen on TV. If it's anything that I might can share with you guys, you may not be up on, stuff like that. Before I get out of here, I'll give you guys tonight's NBA schedule. My home team here, I was going to say my team. I don't have a team. My home team, the Atlanta Hawks, got it pushed in last night by the baby Lakers. My man Guy Torrey said he hate to hear that. Whatever, dude. The baby Lakers. And tonight, they don't get no easier. They got to go take on Golden State at the Oracle. So we'll talk more about that, the NFL, and some rumors that came out today that the NFL ended up refuting later on in the day. And I'm glad I caught it before I turned the mic on. I wouldn't sound like too much of a dumbass. I'll give you guys the scores. We'll talk about that game last night as well, that Sunday Night Football game, which to me, that game was everything, man. That game was football personified, but we'll talk about it here in just a second. And one of the star players from last night, you dudes, man, the internet, golly, the internet is undefeated. Y'all done went back and got this dude tweets, these like sexually explicit tweets on my man. Oh God, you SOBs. Like no people just can't have shine anymore without somebody coming like, wait a minute, you need some of this shade over it. Golly. And I'm gonna talk about at the top of the next hour, I'm gonna talk about Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick used to be a fixture on this show. And then it kind of died down a little bit. And also, ladies and gentlemen, something good has happened. I think something good has happened. The dude's playing pretty well individually. The team sucks, but yesterday I think he went over 100 yards rushing, had almost 300 yards passing the football, was playing a very hot Miami Dolphins team on the road and came within, a final play of a victory yesterday. So shout out to Colin Kaepernick. The Cuban homies, like the Cuban American homies, got a little bit of beef with him. But we'll try to like sort through it a little bit if we can. That's coming up at the top of next hour. Tonight, to start the show, I want to start first and foremost, and I don't know why that didn't come up on my notes here, but luckily my memory isn't terrible. I want to shout out to the folks up at Ohio State University. There was a mass shooting today on the campus, man. Some dude kind of lost it, I guess, is how it's been reported. 9 people injured, no one seriously, so no one died, but still, it's just still one of those things again that, to have people questioning their freedoms or their liberties and things like that when things like this can happen. I always try to put it in perspective though, like we live in America, and it's still surprising when these things happen. Like if you turn on stuff like Vice News and these folks go overseas and you see that like little kids outside just playing around like, it ain't nothing, and they getting bombed like every other day, like flyover bombs too, not like always some dude just rushing up in a car bomb or something. Like the military is like bombing people on a daily, and they just like it's become life to them. So I don't know, silver lining. It ain't that in America. It's still appalling when things happen. A professor reportedly told a news station, that a colleague had been stabbed or cut with a damn machete. Yeah, man. The dude is dead. The dude who killed all these people, or killed. Sorry, that's terrible. No, he injured all these people is dead. He tried to kill them. What they're saying is that The suspect reportedly struck a group of people in the car, then leapt out and attacked them with a damn butcher knife. I thought they said it was a shooting. Anyway, he's dead. His name is this the part that, oh, God. His name is Abdul Razak Ali Artin. He's a legal permanent resident of the United States and was born in Somalia. So all the people who's like, oh, the terrorists are coming here, they probably going to come out the woodwork now because this one whack job, something set him off or whatever, decided he wanted to go on a machete, gun, butcher knife rampage. The school's newspaper, The Lantern, up there at Ohio State, did a piece on him, and kind of ironically, I guess, in a weird, bad way, he talks about being an observant Muslim and his fear that media portrayals would make his fellow students distrust him if they saw him praying openly. It sounded to me like, my man, like people should have distrusted Joe ass. Like if these reports are true, and I guess they're going to have to be now, they're going to have to stand because he dead. You know what I mean? So for whatever that's worth, it ain't no other side of the story. Player's dead now. So yeah, it feel to me like them folks probably should have not trusted Joe ass. You get into a car accident and just flip out on folks. No toxicology reports. Obviously, it's too early for that. Have been released yet. They gonna investigate it as they always do when they find out you not a, you know what I'm saying, you're not a homegrown American. Like if you white and American, you do this stuff. They don't investigate this terrorism. But if you got a name like Abdul or whatever his kid's name is, Ali, best believe you nut up. They gonna investigate it as terrorism. They gonna report it as terrorism to freak people out and all kind of craziness, man. So as more details come in, if anything more comes in, I'll give you guys the details, the pertinent ones. Like I'm not a fan of. I don't like when the media turns these cats into stars. You know what I mean? I think that's the wrong thing. Whatever you want to talk about, mental illness or whatever you want to say, I think it encourages these nut jobs to do more, to have more public acts of violence when they realize when they're done, the name is going to be everywhere. They're going to be like lightweight famous because in this culture we live in now, no one cares how they get famous. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants their name to be known for something. If you're talking about dudes who ain't all right upstairs, man, I'm good on that. I don't need to know this dude's history. Like if he had a plot going on, yeah, let's get into it. But if it's just some crazy MFer doing crazy MFer stuff, leave me out of it. I don't think that needs to be a thing. You know, we start like advertising for these crazy ass dudes. Like, yeah, he was this, and then he did it this way, and we found a note that said this and that, and he had a journal. And nah, man, good. I mean, almost now looking back, say I shouldn't even said the cat's name. But anyway, I wanted to make sure I started the show with that, as to not, forget anything or whatnot. Now, this weekend, college football gave us rivalry week, right? And for what it's worth, the rivalry week games, a lot of them, I mentioned it on Friday, had a lot of implications to them. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show. Appreciate you guys joining me on a Monday here being Spreaker.com. Also, Spreaker has an app, and I'm saying Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. You guys can sign up for your free Spreaker accounts, and once you do that, search for One Mic with Big Mike, then follow your boy. That way you get an alert every time the show goes live. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7. You can also hear the show live if you've got the TuneIn app, or if your friends have the TuneIn app. They can hear me live at 7 o'clock there. Or, of course, go to my website. It is the number 1, the numeral, MICWITHBIGMIKE.com. I'm also streaming live video on my Facebook page. Go to my Facebook page, One Mic with Big Mike, and make sure you like that joint as well. Like my Facebook page. I appreciate everyone who's been coming on board and liking the page or whatnot. And the video is streaming live right there now. If you don't catch the video live, if that's your thing, you want to see the person that's talking to you, cool. It'll be available on demand on YouTube as well as on the Facebook page for, I guess, the life of Facebook. Now, this college football playoff situation. Okay, so Alabama beat the brakes off of Auburn. They started Jeremy Johnson, man. Like, they keep, and I'm not the dude that likes to bang on these kids, man, because they 20, 19-year-old kids or whatever. But that dude is bad at playing quarterback. And last year, he was supposed to be like the the upgrade to Nick Marshall. Remember, he's like bigger. He could throw the ball a mile. That dude can't play quarterback, and I don't know why. Gus Malzahn found that kid a new position. He looks to be a pretty decent athlete. Somebody told me earlier in the year he was like a 4-star, 5-star athlete or something like that. Find that kid somewhere to play that's going to contribute to your team, even if it's on the defensive side of the football. The kid White was hurt. Pettaway been injured a little bit, that big-ass running back they got. But Alabama pushed it way in the Iron Bowl, so that was a no-go. I'll come back to that one. Clemson destroyed South Carolina, and Coach Meanie Face, Frowny Face. What the hell is that dude's name? I call him that so much now, I can't even remember his real name. Anyway, number 5, Washington and Washington State. That was on Friday. For the whatever Apple Cup or whatever it's called. That Washington squad, I keep telling y'all, man, that Washington squad, man, is not really to be slept on, man. They got a nice little situation going out there. Coach Peterson, you guys remember him. Everybody remembers him from Boise State, man, all those David versus Goliath games that he came out on top of. The biggest one being that Oklahoma game where they ran the Statue of Liberty play to win the game at the end. Dude was a good coach, man. I think in college football, man, coaching, especially as you get, the separation of talent, coaching and scheme, man, can help a team like Washington if they are to get into the college football playoffs, and we'll get to that here in just a second. Wisconsin, they trailed for a lot of the game against Minnesota. That Minnesota squad gave them a little bit of a run, but they ended up pulling it out and beating them 31-17. Excuse me, but it was a closer game than that. Penn State, close your ears, Renee. If Sean Tate is listening, close your ears. Penn State pushed it all the way in because they knew once they hit the field, they knew what happened in that Michigan-Ohio State game, and I hadn't said anything about that because I want to get back to that here in just a second. So they knew, and that wasn't going to be no good for Michigan State because Michigan State put up a valiant effort last week against that Ohio State squad, and in doing so, but not closing the deal, just thinking about that, they may have screwed Penn State. And like I said, we'll get to that all here in just a second. That Colorado squad too. They're going to be playing in the Pac-12 championship. It's going to be Friday, not Saturday, y'all. So if you want to check out that Pac-12 championship, remember it's going to be on Friday. They took care of Utah again, another slugfest. Utah, I mentioned it on Friday. They'll show up, right? They got all them Samoan cats, them Polynesian kids, big ass, strong, athletic kids, and they just gonna fight. They come out every game and they do those warrior rituals, and it's real crazy, man. And Colorado was able to survive. They're going to play for that Pac-12 championship. And I don't know. They're sitting at number 9 now. Like, they've lost a couple games. I think the playoffs is out of probably the best thing that could happen for the Big Ten in the playoffs is if Colorado, which I think is very viable, that Colorado squad beating Washington in the Pac-12 championship on Friday, and then I think 2 teams from the Big Ten actually can make a claim. Kentucky. I cringe every time. I'm about to watch some Kentucky basketball while I talk to y'all tonight. I cringe every time I have to talk about Kentucky football and them winning ball games. Like, winning games they shouldn't win. They're 7-5. They're going to be bowl eligible. They were in the SEC East hunt all the way up until like 2 weeks ago. And this past week in a rivalry game against Louisville, beat Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson turned the ball over like a couple times in the waning moments. Didn't have one of those typical Lamar Jackson performances. But everybody's saying that, we don't really see where a second-place Heisman Trophy finalist is at, or that's close enough to affect him winning. He's one of the first Heisman Trophy finalists, and he would be if he wins, in many, many a year to have lost his final 2 games. So they lost that game 41-38 on the last-second field goal. Ridiculous. USC beat Notre Dame. Don't really care about this game, or didn't really care, but that USC squad, I think they're about to be back, man. I think they're going to start getting their talent back. The Pac-12 has come up, so it's going to raise the level of competition, I believe. That USC squad, after a slow start, getting bombed on by Alabama to open up the season, yeah, man, that USC situation may be on its way back to a good place, the place that many of us have known it to be. And you got number 14, Florida State. Oh, God. Let's try to talk to Ben about this. Ben Troupe coming up in about 10 minutes here on the One Mic with Big Mike show for Troupe Talk. Let's try to talk to him about this Florida. Like, every time I'm forced to watch Florida play football, offensive football, it's like I feel disrespected. Straight up, I feel like I've been disrespected. You know, speaking of disrespected, Houston lost again, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, my man was trying to, like, play off all this craziness about ain't nobody leaving Houston. I love my job here. That same crap they say all the time. Tom Herman I'm talking about. Yeah, man, ain't nobody hearing that. homie hit the damn... Hit the locker room, went out there, took that L to Memphis, and was on the next thing smoking to Texas. So, yeah, we'll get up on that here in just a second. Shout out to you, homie. Shout out to you, Big L. Big L's in the chat room. You guys can join him in there. Simply go to Spreaker.com or download the Spreaker app for your mobile device, or go to my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. You'll see a little thought bubble icon. Click on that joint. It'll get you inside the live interactive chat room. You can also text the show at 404-902-8104. Or you can leave your comments below my live streaming video on Facebook. I'm at facebook.com/1MIC WITHBIGMIKE. You know what? Every time I spell the number out or spell the name of the show out, I remember when what was it called? MySpace first came out, and my man was giving me his MySpace thing, right? And it was like, it's whatever he said. It was like 1_MIC. And I was like, hold on. How you spell UNDE? He's like, nah, idiot. It's just a symbol. It's just like that underline symbol. I was like, man, don't nobody know what that's called. I guess everyone knew what it's called, but me. So whatever. Every time I say the numeral or the number one, I just remember being explained to what a damn underscore was. Anyway, also, man, if you're listening to the show, even if you don't join the live interactive chat room, use those share buttons as well. The ones for Twitter and Instagram and whatnot. Share me with your friends, man. Let them know that I'm here. We're trying to grow this thing, one thing at a time. Oh, also, before I move on with this college football craziness, I don't do this much, so, like, drink it in. I got to apologize for Friday's show. Oh, you talking about a load of garbage. Like, dude, I never go back and listen to my shows, but I hear them in my head, right? I hear them when the show is over. I hear the stuff I said. There's many times that I miss things that I should have said during interviews, follow-up questions that I bomb on. And, like, I heard that show. I kind of even heard it as it was happening on Friday, and I was like, this is it's so trashy. I wanted to delete it. Like, Spreaker let you delete your joint when it's over. I started to delete it, man. I was like, man, this is god-awful. I need a break, B. You know what I mean? I need a break. Feel me? And I think I'm gonna take one here pretty soon, and just kind of recalibrate. But yeah, man, my bad on Friday. My bad. So the college football playoff committee is gonna meet tomorrow, right? And they're gonna tell us who's in the new top 4, and then we got championship weekend coming up this week. And like the name of this episode is somebody gonna get damn screwed, man. And there's no way to avoid it, man. Well, let me not say that either. There's gonna be ways to avoid it, but shout out to the folks over at Fox Sports for not making me have to do this, for helping produce the show today, not knowingly, but because I was like, it's gonna be a bunch of different scenarios going in play, and if I had to sit down here and do it myself, man, I'm gonna be pissed. But I didn't. Shout out to the people who think the way I think and knew that people was going to need this information. So I'm going to give you guys some scenarios as the way things are going to play out this week. The first thing that everybody's going to be talking about is what the hell's going to go on in the Big Ten. Because we already know Penn State beat Ohio State. Ohio State just beat Michigan. But because of that loss to Penn State, and because Penn State has a better or the same in-conference record as Ohio State won't play for the Big Ten championship. For the most part, people would say that's a problem. Okay, let's talk about why it's not a problem. Now, and also we're assuming that Penn State is going to beat Wisconsin, another one of those punch your ass in the mouth teams. You know what I mean? That'll show up and just like, all right, bare knuckles, let's go. When the finishing horn goes off, we'll see where everybody's laying or standing. You know what I mean? So with Ohio State, they're 11-1. That one loss, of course, I just mentioned to Penn State. Ohio State is 3-1 versus top 10 opponents. They won against Oklahoma when they were number 7, Wisconsin when they were number 6. They lost to Penn State when they were number 8, and they just won versus Michigan, who was number 5 in the AP, and what was Michigan? 4. They went to 4 in the college football playoffs, right? They're 4-1 against top 25 teams. Add in there another win versus number 23 Nebraska. They were 8-1. Only lost one game against a team with a 500 record or better. And as we know, that one team is Penn State. Now, here's the case against Penn State. It ain't even for them. You know what I mean? They're only 2-1 versus top 10 teams. So they don't play 3 top 10 teams, and they lost to one of them. That one being Michigan, and they got it pushed in by Michigan, by the way. Of course, they won versus Ohio State, and they won at home versus Wisconsin. They were 3-2 versus top 25 teams. They lost at number 24 Pitt. That's the one that's going to probably bite them in the ass when it's all said and done, that Pitt loss. And they won versus number 22 Iowa at the time. They're 7-2 against 500 or better squads, teams with winning records essentially. Now, we got to talk about if Wisconsin or Penn State can beat out that Washington squad at 12-1. Because here's where we're at. Number 2 in the college football rankings is Ohio State, right behind Alabama. So what you ask these playoff people to do is, after this week of championship, a conference championship football, find a way to take a team that ain't play from 2 to at least 5 to allow the other teams to get into it. The other teams that I'm talking about, of course, Clemson's going to play Virginia Tech. You got Alabama is going to murder Florida. You got, of course, Washington playing Colorado, and that's not a gimme. Penn State's going to play Wisconsin. Again, not a gimme. So those 2 slots are kind of up in the air right now until we see, how everything plays out in the game. I think Nick Saban's boys can lose and still get in. I mean, it ain't going to happen, but if they do, no one cares. So for Penn State, we already talked about, their rundown. But Wisconsin, they're 1-2 versus the top 10 teams. They lost at Michigan, lost at home versus Ohio State, but they beat Penn State already. It's not going to matter if they can't beat them in this weekend, though. They're 4-2 versus top 25 teams. They're 6-2 against teams 500 or better. Now, here's Washington sitting there at 12-1. But here's the problem with Washington, man. 1-1 versus the top 10. They took an L to USC a couple weeks ago, and they beat Colorado the other day. 2-1. There's only 3 games now. Out of their 13 games, only 3 of them versus top 25 opponents. And the one win that they got, the additional win, was against that badass Stanford team. And I think Christian McCaffrey was hurt. Now, I remember that game, though. They beat the brakes off Stanford. That was on, Thursday night. They beat them bad now. A team that's usually pretty good. They beat the hell out of them. And then they were 5-1 against teams 500 or better. Now, they got all these scenarios about if Clemson loses to Virginia Tech. I don't know. But the thing is, though, if that did happen, we might see Michigan creep back in. Michigan got a nice resume. 3-1 versus the top 10, 3-2 versus the top 25, and 6-2 versus teams 500 or better. And plus, Harbaugh's a weirdo, and that kind of stuff will sell tickets. Colorado's on the outside looking in, man. Of course, they got to win Friday, but they're 11-2, don't really have much of a resume, and then they got to go from 9 to at least 4. That's kind of going to be out of the question for them. And then you got to be talking about if Clemson and Washington lose. Oklahoma State. I heard Mike Gundy on TV earlier talking about that loss to Central Michigan that the referee screwed them out of. They really should be 10-1. You know what I mean? They took a penalty at the end of the game, much the way that John Harbaugh did yesterday, taking an offensive penalty at the end of the game to just go ahead and go home with a victory, but didn't work out that way. I think it ended up with a Hail Mary or whatnot, and that's his life. They're 10-2. So is Oklahoma, which, by the way, Oklahoma being 0-1 against the top 10 school that lost to Ohio State, I'm good on that whole Baker Mayfield, Mixon and all them boys. I'm good. I mean, I'll catch them in their bowl game, but I ain't trying to, open up the door for something freaky to happen and they win a damn championship. Good on that. All right. We'll move on. We'll continue this conversation, though. We'll continue with my man Ben Troupe for Troupe Talk next segment. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com. Also, check me out. Download that Spreaker app, man, and tell all your friends. Big L, tell all your people, man, we here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They can also catch the show on TuneIn. Also, onemicwithbigmike.com, which is my website. The on-demand episodes of the show, all of them are available on all 4 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and follow and all those things as well. And right now, streaming live video on the good old Facebook page, which is the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. We'll be back in about 90 seconds with the homie, Ben Troupe.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Hey. Monday. Right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Taking them to the candy shop around this mother. Like I said, it is Monday. We back from the weekend right here on Spreaker.com. We're also on the Spreaker app. Make sure you check me out as well on TuneIn. And, of course, my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. Check me out on Facebook. I'm streaming live video right now on the Facebook page, which is One Mic with Big Mike. And also make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Same handle, One Mic with Big Mike. You can be a part of the show if you want to by texting me at 404-902-8104. You can also leave your comments right below the live streaming video on Facebook, or you can jump on in my live interactive chat room. All you got to do that is sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. Get on Spreaker. You guys can get on the One Mic with Big Mike website. You'll see a little thought bubble icon. Click on that joint, and bang, you're in the live interactive chat room, just like my man I Am Know Those is. What up, homie? But right now, as we do each and every Monday evening, we got to chop it up with the homie, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, too. So let's get right to it. He is Ben Troupe.
Time for Troupe Talk.
What you talking about?
We're talking NFL and college football with former NFL and SEC tight end Ben Troupe.
Ben Troupe at the 15, at the 10, hurdles a man, spins to the 5. Oh my! Still on his feet, still pounding to the goal line. He's gonna score! He's gonna score!
Troupe Talk. Troupe Talk.
We heading to the top if you come
on.
On One Mic with Big Mike.
Man, yeah. What up, man?
Man, just living the dream as usual, man. Thanks for having me.
There it is. He has been Troupe, like I mentioned, former Gator tight end, former second-round pick of the Titans. He's also a Georgia-Florida game Hall of Famer. Make sure you follow him on Twitter and Instagram at BENTROUPE84. All right, so rivalry week is over, my man. Let's start here, though, man. Let's start with, again, where we started last week. The homie Lamar Jackson, man, took another L, and not just the one in his name. And I'm thinking to myself, because everybody's kind of saying, like, it don't matter. Second place wasn't there for him. I asked you about this a couple weeks ago, and I think it's becoming more of a reality. This kid, Jalen Hurts, his game is kind of like the year Mark Ingram won. You know, Mark Ingram didn't blow anybody really out the water the year he won the Heisman, but he played on that team that was kicking everybody's ass. So if it comes down to it, and this kid is probably gonna have he's probably gonna have a great game next weekend, Ben.
Yeah.
You know, where we at with that, with the Heisman Trophy? Is it a little bit closer at least, or do you still have Lamar Jackson far and away as the winner?
I don't have Lamar Jackson far and away the winner, but I think Jalen Hurts has definitely closed the gap. But a guy that has really surged himself back up into that race is Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I know he hasn't had the year that people expect him to, but just very, very similar to Jalen Hurts, he's on one of the top 4 teams. And
absolutely.
That just can't be something that you can look past. Whenever you're on one of the top teams, which a lot of Heisman Trophy winners seems to be the norm. You're on a top team each year. I don't think enough can be said, but I do think Lamar Jackson, even though, he's shown that he is, human down the stretch, he hasn't been the reason why this team has been losing. And he's the only reason why his team has actually even been in it. So while Jalen Hurts has a shot, I just don't see him surpassing Lamar Jackson, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah, his numbers, man, are just eye-popping. I also like to my dark horse, ironically, is a white boy, the kid Browning from Washington. I like his game as well. I know a lot of people don't get a chance to watch him play.
Because of where they play, though.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get a chance to see him.
Conference, I think that's hurt them.
Right. Let's talk about your alma mater, man, because I was telling the people before you got on, man, it's like I get offended, man, having to watch Florida play offense. And you know what I thought about today? I was in the bathroom today, and I was thinking to myself, like, that defense, that's why I do my thinking, brother. That defense should be better, man. But the problem is, if every time you sit down, you got to get right back up because it's 3 and out, punt. I can't even really enjoy those defensive athletes that they have over there. So this weekend, and you know what I heard today too, dog? It's kind of fool's gold. That's what's going on over there. These cats have lost their last 6 games against ranked opponents. Just because the SEC East is trash, man. So, like, what do we handicap this game for me next? Other than the bus exploding on the way to the stadium, how does Florida make it a game?
Well, first and foremost, to address that Florida State game, I do agree with you more. You got to have an offensive game plan. You can't just go out there and throw some dirt on the ground and say, you do this or you do that. Offensive line is going to have to play out of their mind. Appleby is going to have to play, he can't give the ball away. The receiver's going to have to, create some, they're going to have to create some separation. Mm-hmm. We're just going to have to play better on offense. But speaking of the Tide, it's just the fact that I know it's rough, but we're going to have to take that same approach we did against LSU. You got to make these guys, one-dimensional, even though that running game gets really, really ugly towards the end of the game when they got the game going. Jalen Hurts is a guy that can make mistakes, but you got to force him into making mistakes. Right. He's very, very poor. He's played a lot of big games, and I don't think the situation is going to be too big for him. But if we don't have an offensive game plan, if we show up like we did against Florida State, it's not going to matter how our defense plays because what's unfortunate is, Florida State scores a big touchdown, once Duke Dawson goes out the game. It's like things, the freaking up back just happen to come out of the wide and score a big touchdown. Those type of things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. But if your offense can't pick you up as a defense, you go into the game and say, look, man, we're going to do the best we can given the situation. And once it go bad, we got to, we can't just lay down. We got to keep playing hard. But I agree with you, Mike. If our offense can't find a way to muster up a good game plan, because that defense is loaded on every end, on the front end, the back end, it's going to get real ugly real quick. Because if you think about last year was actually a good SEC championship game. Obviously, we didn't win the game, but it didn't get out of hand the way it could have. And unfortunately, this year, I think this Alabama team is better than last year. So, we're going to have to come in with a game plan, or it's going to be, find something else to watch on TV second half.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And they're going to have to get some fortunate bounces in the kicking game as well. He's Ben Troupe, former Gator tight end, also a second-round pick of the Titans. He's a Hall of Famer for the Georgia-Florida game. Follow him, BENTROUPE 84 on Twitter and Instagram. The Ohio State-Michigan game. I think for whatever happened at the end or how the game was officiated, because your man wanted to turn into a crybaby at the end, I think it was a good, hard-played football game. I felt like the talent level for the Ohio State Buckeyes offensively was able to – the talent level and the experience. Because I didn't see J.T. Barrett. I didn't see him panic at all. He wasn't having a good game, but he ain't panic. He understood the situation. I didn't see the kid Samuel. I didn't see him panic at all. And then at the end, when both of those guys need to make plays for their teams to win, they made them. And guess who didn't? The Michigan defense that they've been resting on all year long. That last play for Samuel, my man, you can give me all that. The spot was wrong. By the way, I do agree with him. The spot was short. It was. On that last play, dude, you had 3 dudes over pursue and out leverage the football, allowing that kid to cut back and score that touchdown. If your defense is as sound as you say it is, my man, those things don't happen in big time situations. Am I wrong, Ben?
No, you're right. You're definitely right. I mean, I do think the referees blew the call. I do think it's a cop out at the end of the game when you know the game is already lost. Like, it's not worth you waste your time talking about. I think the officials got it wrong. But I also agree. It was a tale of two halves. First half, it was real hard to watch. It was a real ugly game. It wasn't about really, taking advantage of opportunities. I mean, the kicking game, I felt that Ohio State kicker better be lucky for second chance because he was going to have to leave Earth because this boy was missing chip shots. And I just don't – and the thing about this is what I can't appreciate. While that ref did blow the call, the ref understands the significance. I'm at the horseshoe. You think I'm finna not say this boy got the first down and try to get out of here?
Right.
No. I'd rather say, listen, I'd rather say let these boys go to overtime and y'all settle it because the game wasn't won or lost with that call.
Right.
So it just I appreciate the rivalry. I mean, take nothing away from Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl is, it's still the biggest one. Army, Navy's bigger. But Ohio State, Michigan, I mean, listen, I'm happy that the two teams finally playing for something. Both teams are ranked. Both teams are carrying those conferences. I just think that Harbaugh is going to realize real quick it's going to be a bunch of good Michigan teams, but until you beat Ohio State, you're just another good coach at Michigan. Nobody's going to care what you did in the regular season. And the funny thing is, neither one of them is playing in the Big Ten championship, which is crazy.
And you know what pissed me off, too? That we talked about this earlier in the season when Jimbo Fisher did this. Like, don't just escape the fact that you threw a tantrum and got your team penalized. You're somebody who's not even on the field affecting the things that are going on the field for them kids. Like, let that be the first thing that come out of your mouth. You know what? I should have kept my cool. We were out here preaching discipline and not getting too caught up in the moment. My man, you over there getting undressed and breaking headsets and all that. You the 50-year-old man trying to impress that upon 18, 19-year-old kids, but not setting the example. Miss me with it. I'm good, man.
Yeah. And Harbaugh seems to be having these outbursts. I mean, he loses his mind over first quarter calls.
Right.
Like, dude, we got a lot of games to play. And the thing is, like you just said it, Mike, we will show the demeanor of our team. And if we show the demeanor of our head coach, we have no poise. We have nothing. We have nothing that's holding us back. And listen, I'm gonna tell you what her mission, in my opinion. Jabril Peppers is not supposed to make. If he's gonna be on offense, he needs to be doing something. Don't just put him out there because it's just a waste. And I think I understand trying to utilize his abilities. But listen, what I appreciate the most about Ohio State was this. They told Jabril Peppers, we're going to make you play football today.
Yep.
You're going to have to cover today. You will not get to hide behind the defensive line. And the funny thing is, unless you knew who Jabril Peppers was going in, he didn't make that big of an impact. And because I just think that putting him into the goal line just to hand the ball off, I mean, what is that, man? Call real plays. But I can appreciate good football. It was a great football game in the second half. I do think Michigan got shorted with that 4th-and-1. But, hey, man, you got to keep playing football.
Absolutely. He's been Troupe. He joins me every week right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show for this thing we call Troupe Talk. Make sure you guys are following him on Twitter and Instagram at BENTROUPE84. Now, all right, so the axe finally came down quickly. Everything happened pretty quickly. LSU was like, yep, we got Tom Herman on the hook. Then Texas was like, no, you don't. Charlie Strong, you fired. Tom Herman, you hired that quickly. And at the same time, while LSU didn't get their man, they was like, oh, guess what we did? All the time. We wanted Coach O, the Cookie Monster here the whole time, right? So moving forward, now you said something last week, man, and I thought about it after the fact. You said that you just knew Charlie Strong was going to get another job, another big-time coaching job. And after I thought about it, I was like, isn't this gig kind of like playing for the Patriots? Like, don't people kind of look at it like if you couldn't make it work there, what gives us the impression that you can make it work here? Like, I see Charlie Strong in the NFL, my man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, I could too. But the thing about it is this though. It's not that. Listen, I look at Nick Saban and I say, if Nick Saban is the right guy for Alabama, it's not that just he's coaching at Alabama. And you look at Texas. Coach Strong just wasn't the guy for that school. Now, the whole thing about Herman and Orgeron, what's funny about this whole situation is this. Herman wanted to go to LSU. LSU wasn't willing to pay him what he wanted.
Well, there it is.
They didn't want to give him that. And when you think about it, he played it right. Both teams got what they wanted. LSU came out and made a statement and said, we went after the guy that wanted the job, not the guy that wanted the money. And Herman wanted that money.
Yeah.
He didn't want that money. Now, another thing that Herman's got to understand, too, he don't understand how hot that seat is in Texas. No school in the country is ran more by their boosters than Texas. There isn't a team in the country that's ran more by them guys with them deep pockets than Texas. He's going to realize that. The reason why Mac Brown was able to stay there as long as he did not overstep his boundaries. You know where his bread was buttered at. You know when it comes to them boosters, you do what the boosters say. The athletic director who was once in Texas tried to overstep his boundaries. He was gone. He's going to realize that. Orgeron, in my opinion, while he is the guy for LSU, he coaches just like Dabo Swinney. He doesn't run the offense. He doesn't run the defense. He's just an overseer. And when you think about it, you keep your job longer because everything, now you got to make the 4th and 1 calls. Am I going to kick it on, things of that nature? But I think Orgeron is the guy for the job. This is what people fail to realize. This is why I say, this is the biggest reason why I say Coach Strong get another job. Do you realize that Coach Orgeron has more wins as an interim coach than he had in 3 years at Ole Miss? He didn't get that many NC wins in 3 years. So when you think about it, and listen, and I got to say this, it ain't a race thing. It's a place thing. And the thing about it is, man, Coach Strong ain't no puppet. See, when Coach Strong was at Texas, he's like, listen, man, y'all ain't going to tell me
he told him what he
how to run
do.
my team.
Right.
Now, true indeed, it got him kicked out. It got, the wins and losses got him kicked out of that. Too many losses, not enough wins. But Coach Strong said something when he was at Florida that I can say that he said, Ben, if I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired doing it my way. I ain't going to get fired doing it somebody else's way.
Absolutely.
And like I say, Herman was a good coach at Houston. He wasn't a great one. So it ain't like, he's familiar with the landscape, just like Orgeron, familiar with the landscape. So I think both guys landed in their position. I think both guys, I know LSU, they really looking forward to being coached under Coach Orgeron because there ain't nothing really going to change it. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If Coach O don't get a quarterback, I don't know when Les Miles is, but he going to be where he at. If he don't get a quarterback, because ain't going to be no patience. They do not got time for patience. You can't address that quarterback position. Yeah, he's celebrating right now, but that seat is already hot. He's already on alert.
Let me ask you two more things quickly because we got to move on to the NFL stuff. First of all, the first question I'm going to ask you quick: who gets screwed tomorrow? Which team gets screwed tomorrow? You got 5 slots. You got 4 teams, but you got 5 teams potentially, but only 4 slots. Who gets screwed tomorrow when the announcement comes out? Better question that.
I hope it's not Washington. I'm going to say that. I hope it's not Washington. I hope it's not them. Because that Michigan thing, that's going to be kind of controversial. I see Michigan being number 5, though. I see them putting them at number 5. I really, really do. Wow. I got Michigan number 5. But, I hope Washington get in there, man. Because if Michigan's in that top 4, the playoff doesn't even work. It's a joke.
But what about Penn State though? Because Penn State is out of those 3 teams. Penn State's the only one playing for the championship, my brother.
You know what?
And they beat Ohio State.
They did, but you know what? Style has a lot to do with it. Remember when we were talking about it, Mike? It's the 4 teams that the world want to see. Yeah. The world don't want to see Penn State, Wisconsin. Yeah. They don't. Yeah. They got to see it, but they don't want to see it. Right. We got to see it. We don't want to see it. So. We'll see, though, man. Hey, they got their work cut out for them because no 2 best teams in the conference are not playing for the conference championship. Yeah. They just happen to be the 2 best records, so we'll see.
So last night in Sunday Night Football, I don't know what you saw last night, dude. I saw real football. Like I saw defenses knocking the hell out of each other. I saw eventually offenses that were patient enough to say, okay, at some point we're gonna get our opportunities. It went to overtime. Gary Kubiak was like, look, dude, the president is my homeboy. I just won a championship. You know what I can do? What I want to. I'm going to kick this damn field goal. And it missed. Okay, you give them good field position. They go down the field and they kick one of their own. But today, the conversation being about his decision to kick the football and not play for the tie, I ain't about that life. And for most people, like, I wouldn't care either way if it tied or not. I saw a good football game. But for most people, had it tied tonight, everybody would have been talking about changing overtime. But because the dude made a decision that he's in a position to make, he's not Gus Bradley about to get fired or nothing. He can make that decision and live with it. What was your take on last night's situation?
I think he had too much leeway. See, Gary Kubiak, because he had so much leeway, he strangled himself with it.
So he shouldn't have kicked it?
Too much rope. No. Because the thing about it is, Mike, see, it's not that if he misses. What happens if you miss?
Mm-hmm.
You can't give a team plus 48 to go in. Even Alex Smith can live with those odds. Even he can make something happen.
You're an idiot, dude.
And the thing about it is, listen, that loss could be the difference in them making the playoffs or not.
That's true.
Oakland ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Kansas City is ahead of y'all.
Yep.
So, and the thing about it is Denver's in a position where your quarterback isn't good enough. Yeah, I know you went against the Kansas City Chiefs defense that, wasn't themselves, as much as they've been in the past, but this loss could be the reason why you don't make it in the playoffs. Because Oakland, they playing out of their mind. Khalil Mack, oh my God, I should have never said nothing.
Oh.
Maybe he heard the one Mike with Big Mike with Troupe Talk. This boy done stood up.
He's
oh
awesome.
My God,
that's a football player, sir. That's a football player.
Man, he's a. But I mean, you got to live with it. And obviously, when you lose the game, I got to live with the decision. But you can't put your defense in a short field. I mean, because everything is on the line. Man, it's like you make a playoff decision in those. But I mean, it went Kansas City way. I think Andy Reid is not being talked about enough about the job he's doing in Kansas City without Jamal Charles. The man is doing some coaching, man. I mean, you got to give him credit.
Absolutely. He's been Troupe for a couple more minutes here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. We do it every week. It's called Troupe Talk. Make sure you guys are following my man on Twitter and Instagram, especially if you somebody who needs some inspiration. Ben's a real inspirational cat on the old social media. He's at BENTROUPE 84. And, of course, if you love the Gators, he always tweeting about his alma mater, too. So that's just an added bonus. You understand?
Only retweets. They do all the tweeting for me. I'm in the words of Kevin Hart, I'm the best retweeter ever.
No doubt. What do you make of that Seattle outfit, man? We saw him get mashed all the way in last night yesterday by the Buccaneers. Now, everything was wrong. They couldn't run it. Thomas Rawls is back, and that was supposed to be the thing. They cut Christian Michael. They couldn't throw it. Russell Wilson getting sacked every which way but right. They couldn't block it. The O-line was terrible. They did all right on defense because we expect that's going to be the case anyway. But moving forward, because we talked about this team and how what they do could possibly affect what happens in Dallas as far as their rookies and the rest and how early they clinch and things of that nature. So what do you make of that Seattle outfit coming down the stretch? We got like 5-6 games, something like that left, man. So everybody is who they are at this point.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know who Seattle was yesterday. They looked a lot like my Florida Gators on Saturday. They couldn't do nothing on offense. Defense did their best.
Yeah.
But even the best defenses can't keep people out. And it's like, listen, man, Seattle's one of those teams where they hand scratchers. They'll go to Tampa, can't put a 5 on the board. They go to New England and look like world beaters. So I'm really gonna. You know what? The thing about the NFL is, week 1 don't have nothing with week 2. Each week is like its own little chapter, man. You really can't look at what has happened because even Tampa, I think Tampa probably shocked themselves yesterday in the way in which they played, but Seattle, man, it's like the curious case of the Seattle Seahawks. You don't know what you get with them week in and week out. And when you inconsistent as they have been this year, I mean, you really don't know because, like you say, you don't know who's going to step out there from week in and week out.
Yeah, they got to figure it out up front, man. They got a kid playing, starting at tackle who was a tight end in college and a basketball player. He only played football for like 1 year, so they got to figure something out. Speaking of those Buccaneers, man, we got some teams that are surging now. And like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, we're starting to find out like all that false hope that people start the season with, like, yeah, man, we're gonna do it. All that hope that the Panthers had and the Cardinals had and the Bengals had, that's all out the door. We know we know what is at this point in the season. And some teams have found their identity a little bit. The Dolphins, the Buccaneers, another team. Jameis Winston playing good football after the last couple weeks. The last 4 weeks, he lost Vincent Jackson, but him and Mike Evans love each other to death. Mike Evans is the most targeted man in the history of life, I believe.
I know.
That Giant squad that we talked about, they've won a bunch of games in a row. They're starting to get some production from that expensive defense. JPP got a touchdown yesterday. So as we sit here now, even the Titans lost last week, but Marcus Mariota's playing good quarterback. They running the football. The defense is okay. It's where it could be. But everybody ain't gonna be at the show, man. Everybody ain't gonna be in the tournament, Ben. So who gets left out? I mean, these surging teams that's making these pushes. Who gets left out, my man?
Man. I hate to say it, but I don't know if Tampa gonna still make it in the show.
They one game behind. They one game behind the Falcons. The Falcons got Kansas City this week.
The thing about it is, though, it's that up and down. See, it's the up and down player of James Winston.
You think it's gonna go back down?
He's an all or nothing player.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is this: no, it's not that he go back down. He's an all or nothing. He's not an in betweener. He either plays really well or he doesn't.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, if he could keep it up, they definitely got a shot. But you see, the problem with Tampa, they win games they should have lost, and they lose games they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
See, yesterday they probably could have easily lost, but they just happened to get Seattle on a bad day. So I just think that while Tampa definitely got a shot, listen, man. One thing about the NFC South, it's usually a different winner every year. It's never usually a repeater from week in, week out. But can they really compete with Atlanta? I don't know. I mean, they should be able to.
I mean, they beat them early in the season.
Against Kansas City. We're gonna learn a lot about Atlanta against Kansas City.
You know what, too? I think we learned a little bit about them this weekend. That Cardinal squad ain't good, but they were desperate. They came in with the number one overall defense, and the Falcons was like, all right, Julio, we're going to give you 35 yards on 4 catches. Watch this, though. Watch this happen. Watch us put 39 up against these dudes. Yeah, I think we learned a little bit about the Falcons. They started to solidify things on defense.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, I just – the thing about it is, I'm going to tell you who's definitely not making it in, and I think it's a travesty. Because this man doesn't even talk about his job being taken away. Green Bay ain't going nowhere. Fans and Mike McCartney, I just don't understand why he is not being talked about. Green Bay is awful. I mean, they are awful. Yeah. And the thing about it is that's the great thing about having such a great player in Aaron Rodgers. Every time somebody says something about Aaron Rodgers not being a natural-born leader, leave him alone. Listen, he's a lot of years removed from that Super Bowl, man.
Yep.
He ain't. What are we talking about? But I can say this. I'm very, very proud of the job coach is doing down there in Detroit. You can't say enough about him. No Calvin Johnson and the boys out there competing.
Yeah, it's got Matt Stafford playing.
And I love Mike Zimmer. But that Sam Bradford project, you see why Philly let him go now.
That carriage turned into a pumpkin.
We good people.
Yo, real quick before I let you go, we got to talk about your man, Jeff Fisher. The beginning of the season, it was like, yeah, man, Jeff Fisher, I wanted to call him the Saints. The damn Rams looking to extend Jeff Fisher. Here we are. It's week, 13 or something? No extension yet. And my man got his second start of the season. Everybody's acting like, oh, man, he did great. He didn't do great. He was playing the Saints defense, 1. 2, exactly. In the second half, he did nothing. He threw for like 200 yards on like 40-something throws. This kid, Greg Robinson, who they picked second overall the other year, the tackle out of Auburn, benched him because he needed a break. What's going on? Like, what? You ever heard something like that?
Offensive lineman need a break. Yeah, I give you a break. Yeah, you need a break. Come on,
right. He's a 24-year-old kid.
You know what's funny? You got those type of players on your team. The only break you get, listen, of course you're going to get a break. It's hard when the defense is out there.
Right.
That's when you get your break.
Right.
What are you talking about? And you don't even play special teams. You know what's funny? Greg Robinson asking for a break just shows you the type of team he's on.
I don't even know if he asked for it. I think Jeff Fisher was like he needed a break, so we deactivated him.
He needed a break. And listen. I feel bad for Ty Gurley. You know why?
I do
Ty
too.
Gurley will turn into Tavon Austin real quick.
Yeah, he's going to waste his talent.
Tremendous ability, but they can't find ways to give him the ball.
Dude, I call him the new Steven Jackson, dude. That's who he is. He's the new age Steven Jackson.
Ty Gurley's best year in the NFL might have been his first year when he missed some games.
Too. He's
and the sad part about it is because people ain't got no film on him. See, once people realize, that's what makes Adrian Peterson one of the best to ever do. When you knew what Minnesota was going to do, hand the ball, couldn't stop it. And the thing about LA, they got a good defense. But the problem is this: you got a good defense, you got a promising offense. I think you definitely got an all-pro back. You got the wrong coach coaching y'all. Because he didn't win it. He won in Tennessee, but he stopped winning. He didn't win in St. Louis at all. He beat Seattle twice. And now he's in L.A. Jeff Fisher is the reason why people like Marvin Lewis and those guys, they should get extensions. Because Jeff Fisher even considered
Marvin Lewis should get an extension.
Because I'm saying at least Marvin Lewis goes to the playoffs. Coach Jeff Fisher can't remember last time we went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was probably with the Titans. It definitely went with St. Louis and not LA Rams. So, hey man, I'm never calling for nobody to get fired. But listen, the proof
Sometimes
is in
it
the
is what
pudding.
it is,
You get ready to go down in history as the most losing coach in the league.
That's crazy, right?
Thank God you was on the 85 Bears, man. Because my goodness.
You crazy, man. Man, as always, man, you bring it each and every week here on Troupe Talk, man. We gonna talk next week, my man.
Appreciate it.
All right. That's been Troupe, man. Y'all follow him on Twitter and Instagram. That boy crazy, man. At BENTROUPE84. He's a Hall of Famer for the Georgia-Florida game, for a former All-American down there with the Gators. And who was the coach down there when he was there? Ron Zook or some damn body? I got to look that up. Anyway, we're going to come back. Top of the hour, man. We got to do On This Day. We also got to talk about the situation with Colin Kaepernick and some of the stuff that's going on surrounding him now as it pertains to Fidel Castro dying or whatnot. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app. Tune in as well as One Mic with Big Mike.com. Make sure you guys sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. Follow me on Spreaker. We can be involved in the show by texting me at 404-902-8104. You can jump on in my live interactive chat room if you're listening via Spreaker or the website. I'll be right back.
I only have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We provide workbooks and training certificates. I even budgeted for cupcakes so we can celebrate as a class when one of our people gets a job. That's huge. When somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." That's what living united feels like to me. My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Banged Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is... It is the One Mic with Big Mike show here. 1 hour down. Maybe one to go. Maybe. We'll play it by ear here. Checking out some Kentucky basketball. College basketball this early for me. It's real early for me. It ain't even March. They're taking on Arizona State, and they pushing it all the way in, 58-30. Supposedly, Kentucky got them damn fab freshmen again going on with Calipari over there. I'm gonna keep my eye on them a little bit. At some point, my man Deshaun Tate gonna have to come on, or the homie Vashti Hurt gonna have to come on and give us a little preview. I don't really want to get all into it because I don't really know what the hell going on just yet. I saw Michigan State Tom Izzo apologizing to folks because the schedule was too hard or something like that. Like, man, they apologizing to these damn everybody gets a trophy ass kids. Yeah, play better, coach better, whatever. You know what I mean? And anyway, Izzo does that every year anyway, man, because that's why his team is always tournament ready. He beats them up a little bit at the beginning of the season with the out of conference stuff, and then his team knows how to, perform when the pressure's on. So no apology necessary. T to the Izzo. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app, Spreaker, Spreaker app or tune in, or onemicwithbigmike.com is where you're hearing me. Be involved in the show, man. Hit that little thought bubble icon. Let me know you here. Check in with me in the live interactive chat room. Also, make sure you click on those other buttons too. Those little share buttons. My man, Big L said he got me out there to all his friends or whatever. So click that joint. Click that little heart as well to indicate that you like the show. Also, if you missed my segment with Ben Troupe or any other parts of the first hour of the show, I started out talking about the college football playoffs and whatnot and the shootings at Ohio State University. You can always catch them on demand as well as all my shows. You can catch all my shows on demand on all the 4 outlets that I mentioned earlier, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the iTunes, follow me on iHeart and on Stitcher and all those good things. I think you can follow me on TuneIn as well. Be a follower on TuneIn. Follow my show. Yeah. I'm streaming live video as well. Right now on my Facebook page, it is facebook.com/onemicwithbigmike.com. And don't forget, you can be a part of the show in other ways, like texting me at 404-902-8104. You can also leave comments below my live streaming video on Facebook. And now, before we move on to the Colin Kaepernick conversation, he got into it with a reporter a little bit. Or the reporter was trying to be a J.O. with him on this whole this situation with Fidel Castro or whatever. So we'll get this out the way. We'll take a look back here, and then we'll get to that.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right. Let me find it first. There it is. On this day in 1895. Was slavery still going on there? 1895? America's first auto race. Oh, no, they ain't had cars during slavery. America's first auto race starts. 6 cars, 55 miles. The winner averages 7 miles an hour. Oh, hell no. The Bros would have beat that running backwards. You crazy? Yeah, hell no. They ain't had no. Yeah, they put the Bros in that. We don't need no car. Nah, just shoot the gun off. Not at me. In the air. And watch us run. On this day in 1929, Ernie Nevers of the Chicago Cardinals set an NFL record when he scored 40 points in a game. He scored 6 touchdowns and kicked 4 extra points. On this day in 1974, Major League Baseball's Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, fitting, suspends New York Yankees owner George Steinbrenner for 2 years for his conviction of making illegal contributions to re-elect President Nixon, or to the Nixon campaign, I should say. On this day in 1977, Larry Joe Bird was introduced as quote-unquote college basketball's secret weapon with a cover in Sports Illustrated. On this day in 1981, Bear Bryant, speaking of Alabama, as we were in the last segment, he wins his 315th game to outdistance Alonzo Stagg and become college football's winningest coach. And finally, on this day in 2002, Michael Jeffrey Jordan of the Washington Wizards at the time announced that he would retire for the 3rd and final time at the end of the NBA season. You remember how pissed he was when they didn't give him his old job back? He's like screeched out in the whatever foreign car that was he was driving, because my man just used his ass to sell out the arena every year. And then when he tried to go back up to the owner's box, he was like, yeah, Mike, we've turned your office into a gym. He didn't like to do it on Office Space. He's like, you might have to take up refuge in the basement. Anyway, this is your Monday edition of On This Day right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. In the words of Bomani Jones, GT. No, it's IG TBW. It's good to be white. Yeah, dude. You've got the I. Or maybe Bomani just took it off, but yeah, the way we say it around here, IG TBW. It's good to be white. In America, you damn right it is. Well, there's no way to segue to this from that, because this is a story about I lied. This is a story about whites. Whites definitely have found their way to attach themselves to this damn story. So, Fidel Castro died. The longtime dictator of Cuba. He passed away finally at the age of 90. I think they say he was he avoided like 600 or something like that, assassination attempts, CIA and everybody trying to off this cat, and he made it through all of it and turned 90. You know what I mean? I got some stuff today, read a little bit, heard some people talking about, because when it was found out that he died, man, like Cuban Americans and people was like celebrating the death of this dude and whatever. And you know what my first thought was? My first thought was like, hold on though. That dude hadn't been the head dude for like some years now. I thought like his brother or somebody was. And then I turned on Dan Le Batard's show, because if you guys don't know, he's a Cuban American. His dad is full-blown Cuban. And he said the same thing. He was like, yeah, dude, all his people that he put in place are still there running the show. So, like, I don't know I don't get what the celebration is. Like, if it was the end of something, like he dies and then something ends, I was like, all right, yeah, maybe you celebrate now. Now we got freedom. We're free of this guy or whatever. But you're not really, because he was one of those dudes. He set up his legacy. So when he's gone, he'd still be essentially living. You know what I mean? So anyway, Colin Kaepernick, if you guys don't remember, way back at the beginning of the season when he started getting all those questions about kneeling for the national anthem and all this kind of stuff, he wore a T-shirt that on the front of the T-shirt, you'll see it on the artwork to this show, it depicted a meeting that happened in Harlem between Malcolm X and Fidel Castro. And he was wearing at the time a Malcolm X hat, one of those X hats that we used to rock back in the 90s. He brought that joint back. I need to get one, as a matter of fact. You know, not for any reason but nostalgia. I had the one with like the Rhythm Nation joint. It had like a metal plate on the front of it, and it had the X carved out of the metal plate. And like the sun hit it, and if a car was coming the other way, you'd probably cause a wreck or something. But anyway, that brought the ire of some of the people, some Cuban Americans, some Cuban American journalists, sports journalists, and he talked about Castro, some of the policies, some of the things that Castro implemented in Cuba. One being free healthcare, one being having a very high literacy rate, putting a focus on literacy down there in Cuba. And also, what was the other one? You get like free college in Cuba too. I don't know if he mentioned that, but yeah, you get education for free all the way up and through your college and all that kind of stuff. The bad side about that is, of course, it's a dictatorship, so he controls the things that you read. Like, you can read like a mug, but he controls the things that you read. He controls the things that you consume. I don't think most places there, the majority, like 90% of the island, has the internet, maybe more than that. You know, they smuggle in like stuff from the West, and it's like a big black market for it down there. So it ain't all good. You know what I mean? And I heard the conversation. I mean, I read the comments because they were comments by that were relayed by a Miami Herald reporter on a conference call. So it wasn't something that it was audio to or whatever. Just this guy was relaying the conversation. So yesterday, Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers, they lost in a close one, I mentioned it earlier, to the Miami Dolphins. And kind of, I guess, fitting for some people, one of the guys who made the final stop and tackled Colin Kaepernick short of the goal line was Kiko Alonso, whose parents are Cubans, Kiko Alonso being a Cuban American. The other one was a Nigerian American? Is that what Ndamukong Suh is? I think he's Nigerian, right? His people is Nigerian. The other one was a Nigerian American. But then Kiko Alonso tweeted out about, Libre, Cuba Libre, I think it was what it said. And, he hates Kaepernick now. He don't like Kaepernick and all this kind of stuff. But then post-game, this happened. There was an exchange between him and that same Miami Herald reporter. It's about 2 minutes long, so just, bear with me, because it was nothing I can cut out of this. You got to hear the entire thing.
Colin, one of the times that you made that stance about fighting systematic oppression, you wore a Fidel Castro T-shirt after the game. Are you not aware that Fidel Castro is one of the 20th century's big oppressors of people?
I wore a Malcolm X shirt.
And Fidel Castro was on that shirt as well.
I am a believer in Malcolm X and his ideology and what he talked about, what he believed in as far as fighting oppression.
Are you a believer in Fidel Castro who was on that shirt?
If you let me finish, please. The fact that he met with Fidel, to me, speaks to his open mind to being willing to hear different aspects of people's views and ultimately being able to create his own views as far as the best way to approach different situations, different cultures.
So it's good to have an open mind about Fidel Castro and his oppression.
I'm not talking about Fidel Castro and his oppression. I'm talking about Malcolm X and what he's done for people.
No, I realize you're not talking about it because it's uncomfortable.
One thing that Fidel Castro did do is they have the highest literacy rate because they invest more in their education system than they do in our prison system, which we do not do here, even though we're fully capable of doing that.
He also did something that we do not do here. He broke up families. He took over a country again without any, justice and without any elections.
We do break up families here. That's what mass incarceration is. That was the foundation of slavery, so our country has been based on that, as well as the genocide of Native Americans.
Are you equating the breaking up of Cuban families with people going to jail in the United States of America?
I'm equating the breaking up of families with breaking up of families.
Bang.
Wow.
Yeah, shut your ass up. I know it's amazing. Like, you know how people are going to hate this dude more and more and more? Because he look like some ignorant N-word with his big hair and his big beard and all this kind of stuff. He look like the dude that if you saw him, like if white people saw him coming down the street, they're like cross the street. But he's going to be able to, but he's the cat that's going to articulate and be able to combat every ridiculous thing that you try to put, like he called it, every false narrative. Well, I haven't played that bite yet. That false narrative that people want to use now. They want to call him a hypocrite because he ain't vote. Since when you gotta vote to be treated like a human being? You know what I mean? Let's play the white folks. Phil Jackson ain't voted since 1980. This ain't me being hyperbolic. This is me being real. He hadn't voted since 1980 for the same exact reasons as Colin Kaepernick. He said he don't trust the process. The process is flawed, right? Phil Jackson still get treated like a human being. I ain't voted since 2004, maybe? 4, I believe. Yeah, I still believe I should be able to be treated like a human being. All that if you don't vote, you can't complain. You a lie, I still live in America, and I'm still a citizen. Yeah, all that old fake, these sayings that we say to try to shame people into things. Miss me with the craziness. So the same thing is happening now. Now, every time there's a social issue, people want to start, they want to, first of all, ask Colin Kaepernick about it. He didn't volunteer any information about Fidel Castro. It's being asked of him, and he's answering questions. So they're trying to use these false equivalencies. Well, how can you kneel for injustice in America, but still praise Fidel Castro? You know what that dude is exemplifying? The fact that very few people are all one thing. Very few people are all good, and very few people are all bad. You know what I mean? Like I heard my man say earlier today. He said that's like complimenting the Nazis on their uniforms. I was like, no, that's a total misrepresentation of what he was doing. First of all, a Nazi's uniform, I don't know what it looks like, but even if you did compliment it on it, that brings no benefit to anyone. At the very end of the day, if you take everything a la carte, and that's what Colin Kaepernick did, and I'm going to play this next bite for you guys in just a second. You take it a la carte. You take free health care. You take free education, right? Who can debate that? Who can say that those are bad things? Yeah, they may have come from a bad man and a bad regime, but again, the man was clearly saying that I'm not talking about that dude. I'm talking about some of the things that he did that America, which is I think it's the only civilized Western country that doesn't have universal health care. That people get mad rich off other people's sorrows and their lives being affected by disease. Yeah, come on, man. Like, it's so ridiculous to me that the fervence that people have for knocking this kid down. Where, again, he's not making no big deal of it. He didn't make no big deal of it when he started. Sitting and then kneeling, right? But everybody else wants to make that the thing. But ain't nobody this fervent when the police is gunning dudes down in front of their babies. This is why I can't hear you, man. You know what I mean? I can't hear you. So Colin Kaepernick, and this is another reason why I big up to the dude. He didn't do that bull crap, come back, and if I offended anybody, fake ass apology. He said, all right, I'm going to acquiesce to idiots. And I'm going to further explain to you and articulate to you exactly what the hell I was talking about.
What I said was I agree with the investment in education. I also agree with the investment in free universal health care, as well as the involvement in helping end apartheid in South Africa. You know, I would hope that everybody agrees those things are good things.
Yeah.
And trying to push the false narrative that I was a supporter of the oppressive things that he did is just not true.
And here's the thing. When my man, in the bite earlier, you guys heard my man just try to like dismiss mass incarceration. When homie says, look, America does separate people from their families. Have you heard of slavery, my man? Have you heard of mass incarceration? Have you heard of what happened to the natives in this country? And he was like, what do you mean? Is that are you trying to say it's the same thing? Hell yeah. Separation from your family is separation from your family. When it's forced, it's forced. No matter who's doing it, no matter what kind of political system it's done under, it's the same thing. So what I heard, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, you can always text the show at 404-902-8104. You can jump on in my live interactive chat room. If you're listening via Spreaker or my website, just click on that little thought bubble. Or if you want to leave your comments right below the streaming video on Facebook, One Mic with BigMike.com. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Yet it feels as though he wants Colin Kaepernick to be compassionate and be empathetic towards his plight, while at the same time just disregarding that there are parallels in what he's saying. I think the issue is the fact that, again, you see this big afro beard wearing Negro on this podium and you feel like you can trip him up with stuff that he ain't gonna have an answer. And from day one, my man has had every educational, articulate retort to any foolery and buffoonery anyone has thrown at him. You know what I mean? Much, much more composed that I am. Please and thank you. If you let me finish, please. Because my man was being like crazy rude, cutting him off. And look, I'm going to say this because I realize who the dude is. And I realize a little bit about the Cuban experience, the Cuban American experience. They're not far removed from it. I mentioned Dan Le Batard earlier. Dan Le Batard is a Cuban American. His dad is a Cuban. His dad is the one who had to escape all the oppression. This man who's talking right now, he told a story today on Outside the Lines about getting visas for his family so they could leave Cuba. And because of the regime and how it was set up, everybody got their visas, but when they got to get on the plane, or whatnot, the dude, the guard or whatever, was like, oh, guess what? Yeah, I know this paperwork say all 4 of y'all can go, but I'm only letting 3. Who gonna stay? Either all y'all stay or 3 of y'all get to go. And his dad got to stay. His dad stayed. I mean, not got to stay. His dad stayed and I guess let the mom and the kids go. The dude said he was 3 years old. Like, I understand, man, how that hurt is still fresh. Hell, we got still people running around now. We got 18-year-olds still walking around mad like they was a part of the civil rights movement. You know what I mean? Like some 17-year-old hears the N-word and want to break out into a fight, as though that word has had some major effect on his life, his or her life. So I understand that. But there's one thing that I say on this show all the time, especially as it pertains to black people, and the assumption that somebody of a different race knows your struggle and can feel your pain. When you don't, because obviously if you guys heard that first bite, he wasn't trying to have no dialogue. He was trying to undress my man in front of everybody and make himself feel better by embarrassing Kaepernick in some sort of way. And it ended up turning back around his ass. Kaepernick, man, like that dude need to run for office, cuz like he sticks to the script. You know what I mean? We need better health care. We need better education in this country. We could learn a little bit from Q. And that's the other thing that people don't really understand about just life. You should find a way where you can learn something from anybody. Yeah, those personal hurts are gonna be there. It'll be like trying to convince a victim of rape or sexual assault that Bill Cosby is a funny dude, or telling that person about everything that the Cosby Show did for the perception of Black America. Yeah, all those things might be have a certain ring of truth to them, but somebody who's gone through those traumatic instances ain't gonna be trying to hear that. And I understand that. Feel me? I totally understand that whole situation where your moms and your pops had to go through this pain, and no one wants to see that. The man who put them through all those horrors is now dead. America is starting to open up, trade and all that, and communications with Cuba, per the press, and so many people in America only care about cigars, being able to visit Havana. Because from my understanding, I've heard people talk about it, it's like stuck in a time capsule. They still got all those same old ass cars from the 60s because they couldn't get nothing in, so they just fix them up with whatever parts they can find and all that kind of stuff. It's real deal, but it ain't Colin Kaepernick's fault. Colin Kaepernick, he got his own mission that he's on. And the reality of the fact is, I ain't hear nobody, and maybe some people did, but I ain't see nobody this pissed off about Alton Sterling or Philando Castile or Trayvon or any of those dudes or young ladies, Sandra Bland being murdered by the police. So now that you mad, I'm supposed to be mad too? No, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'll tell you in a minute. I'll tell you in a million different ways, man. I understand. Yeah, I do. But I ain't gonna be as mad as you. And just because this dude had on a T-shirt. What does that say? It's a T-shirt that you can buy. I looked it up online for $19.99 on the internet. He probably walked out the crib feeling like this about to be fresh. Got my Malcolm X shirt on. Got my Malcolm X hat on. I'm about to stun on these mugs. But because he's a person who's taking a stand against what this country is built upon and what it stands for, now people got to find and they got to pick and pride every little bitty thing about the kid, except for the actual issue. Oh, but you're disrespecting the troops. Oh, well, you can go back to Africa or blah, or Rodney Harrison. You're not even black, dude. I don't care if the dude was so white he was opaque. You understand? The cause is the cause, man. The real deal when black men in this country go out of their house, man, and feeling like a traffic stop by the police. I don't know if y'all saw this the other day. Former Atlanta Falcon, Roddy White, was like, dude, I thought I was going to die. In a lot of forums, you know what they call that? PTSD. They call that post-traumatic stress syndrome, man. Or disorder, sorry. Syndrome doesn't start with a D. Post-traumatic stress disorder, man. And it's real. It's not even a fake, made-up thing, man. There's only so many times you can turn on TV and see somebody who looked like you being gunned down by somebody who's in a position of authority. And then they go home. And they just ride out back like, all right, nothing to see here. Yeah, it's cool. Big L's checking in on the joint here on the chat room. I'm gonna take a break here in just a second and come back. Drop this NFL stuff off on you guys real quick, and then we'll I gotta tell y'all what Renee asked me today. It ain't bad, but yeah, I just want to do my little what you're looking at thing today. So we'll talk about the NFL, what happened last night. Also, here's the thing. Oh, I meant to read Big L's situation. Yeah, I hope he get out. And that's why, Big L, that's why earlier I was like, man, it's cool that he's playing good football now because at least there'll be some sort of market for him. You know what I mean? That he, I was scared for a while, my man. I was like, damn, dude, sucking, man. He playing some terrible ball, man. Nobody gonna want to pay him no money. And he took that new deal, kind of betting on himself that the team can cut him loose after the year. Yeah, dude. Yeah. And then Big L also mentions the socks with the pigs on them, the pig police on the socks that happened months and months before the stand. You know what I mean? That's like the preamble, the prelude to the joint. So yeah, man, like if people were as adamant or animated about black kids getting murdered by police as they are about this fake disrespect of the troops or the flag or whatever, or him saying that, yeah, universal health care is like, who can argue with that? That people who are sick should be made well if the resources are available. Come on, man. Miss me with that. This is like the other year. Remember a couple years ago, Ozzie Guillen, when he was coaching down there, managing, I guess they call it in baseball, managing in Miami, and he was like cracking a joke about Fidel Castro. He's like, he admires him because people kept trying to kill him, but he just keep on dodging them and keep, jokingly. Go to your internet right now, not Facebook. Go to the actual internet and some viable sites and look at some of the things that these people have been saying about, like, leaders of the country and of other countries are saying about Fidel Castro now. Be mad at those people. You know what? I think I'll look for it during the break. And when we get back, if I saved it from earlier, I'll read off a couple of them to you guys. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm here, Spreaker.com. It's the first show of the week, Monday. I'm also on the Spreaker app. I'm on TuneIn, One Mic with Big Mike as well. You can get the show on demand on all those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. I'm streaming live video on the Facebook page. It's One Mic with BigMike.com. Get in touch with me by texting me at 404-902-8104. I'll be right back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go.
Sorry, didn't turn the mic on. Anyway, I couldn't find the article I was looking for earlier, that I was looking at earlier about Fidel Castro and all these things that some of these world leaders were saying about him, eulogizing him and trying to talk about him and all these good measures because he's dead. It's like, whatever, dude. The dude is dead, man. Screw it, man. Screw him. You know what I mean? He's gone. And did all this stuff about how people is like, I used to work with this dude that used to do blues named Rogine Bailey, right? And he's one of those old players, old cats that got a million stories and it's funny as hell. And he was telling this story about this dude who was supposed to, owed him a couple $1,000s or whatever, and the dude ain't never give him the money back. He's like, man, F this dude, man. The dude never gave him the money back, and he died. So he said he was somewhere around other people who knew the dude, and he was like just cussing them out and all that. And somebody said, you ain't supposed to talk. You only supposed to talk good about the dead. He was like, well, you know what? Good. He dead. Same thing here. You know what I mean? Good. The world is free and rid of another a dictator. Yeah, you ain't obligated to say nothing nice about this dude, to find nothing nice to say about him, just because he dead. Whatever, man. Well, anyway, let's get this NFL stuff out the way, and I'll give you guys the NBA schedule for the night before I get up out of here. Appreciate you guys joining me. All right, so we got all the Thursday night stuff out the way last Friday. all the Thanksgiving stuff. Yesterday, the Rams got it pushed in the second half by the Saints. Shout out to you, I am no dose. Drew Brees and the boys, they was facing off against the old defensive coordinator, Mr. Greg Williams, the guy that kind of just dumped all that Bounty Gate stuff on. Like, from day one, I felt like it was crap. It was just a load of junk and crap. You know what I mean? Like, a bunch of dudes talking junk and somebody recording them on, secretly recording them. I'm never cool with that, because I'm never cool with that nonsense at all. This wasn't a situation like Donald Trump grabbing pussies. Like, he had a microphone on him. And, like, in the world that I'm in and I've been in, I worked in for the last 15 years, the rule is very simple. If there's a mic around, you assume that it's hot at all times. This dude had a mic on him, so that don't count. These dudes is getting secretly recorded. Next thing you know, Sean Payton got to get suspended for a year. Jonathan Vilma was out the door. Scott Fujita, Greg Williams, he had an indefinite suspension. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just went through that, like, who can we blame it on? And then, Paul Tagliabue came in and was like, you're an idiot, Roger Goodell. Let these dudes back on the football field. But, of course, he couldn't rule on the coaches because they don't have no damn union, which is crazy to me. The Titans almost let one slip away against the Bears. Matt Barkley was coaching. I'm not coaching. Matt Barkley was playing quarterback, and everybody was dropping the football, and they still almost beat this damn team. And in other news, as we wind down the fantasy football season here, I'd like to remind everyone of a comment that I made many, many weeks ago to one Renee Cooper when she was bragging to me about being in first place and beating me in like week 2 or 3 of the season. Now, I reminded the young lady that it is a marathon, not a sprint. She thought she was one of them fast African Americans. I told her I was a Kenyan. Yeah, and we running the 20,000 meter. So yeah, I'm in first place now. Just gave Renee the old and here we are. Cardinals, by the way, Matt Latosky is gonna be back in the building on Wednesday. We're gonna get ourselves ready for this this fantasy football stretch run, playoffs coming up here. I think this is the last week of the regular season in fantasy football, if I'm not mistaken. We'll talk about all that on Wednesday at 7:30. So if you guys if you're playoff bound, get your fantasy football questions and dilemmas and all these free agency acquisitions in hand. You can text them to me at 404-902-8104. Text them or tweet them to me or Instagram them to me as well at One Mic with Big Mike. You can also do the same thing at Facebook, One Mic with Big Mike. You can send all your questions and all that stuff, and I have my man knock them out for you, my man Matt Latosky from the Sporting News, knock them out on Wednesday, Hump Day. Moving on here, the Giants, 6-game winning streak. They took care of the Browns. Y'all saw my man Hugh Jackson crying, about to cry because they bad at football. It's like, dude, come on, man. You ain't finna be no black dude getting no prime A1 job. Yeah, your last gig was Oakland when they was like $45 trillion over the salary cap, and now you're in Cleveland hell. Same-ish, different toilet paper, cuz. You some crying, just keep cashing them checks, man, doing the best you can. You know what I mean? So, week 15, that's a flawed thing, man, in your league. I know those saying that his playoffs start in week 15, but, like, if you got, like, good players, like you got, like, Patriots, or you got Cowboys and people going to be resting, man, the cat's going to get screwed, man. Yeah, y'all trying to be all, let me extend the fantasy football season. Nah, man, run that thing, in a legitimate way. You're going to get screwed at the end when you don't have no players on the field. You be starting Lance Dunbar or some damn body, Mark Sanchez. The Chargers took care of the Texans. Oh, my God. How are they in first place? How are the Texans in first place? We'll go over the playoff matchups as they stand right now, because that's just the time of the season when you do that. The Jaguars, Gus Bradley ass is out the door. And by proxy, I almost believe Kyle Shanahan's ass is out the door too. And go coach that young. They're going to have another good draft pick. They playing better on defense with those young Dante Fowler, the kid they got from Florida State last year, Miles Jack and all them cats. This is going to be a team once they get the right leadership over there, man. And Kyle Shanahan, just like I mentioned, Hugh Jackson going into that pile of doo-doo called Cleveland. Yeah, this dude might be falling into a pile of gold in Jacksonville if he ends up being the choice. Where did I leave off? The Browns. I said the Chargers. I said the Jaguars. The Bengals. That dude Ben Troupe think Marvin Lewis gonna get him another year out of this. They gonna blame it all on all the injuries and everything. I don't know. I think they've been waiting on. He got one more year on the deal, so it ain't gonna really hurt the Bengals if they go ahead and give him the axe and let him ride. They lost another one to the Ravens in division. The Ravens, I think, are still in first place or tied with the Steelers at the top of the AFC North. Dolphins win again. Mentioned it earlier. Last second victory beating Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers. Ryan Tannehill playing good football, man. They starting to get some contributions out the defense. Of course, we know for the last couple of weeks, Jay Ajayi's been kind of the focus of the offense and opening things up. They've been playing a lot more physical football down in Miami, but it's still Miami. The Seahawks managed 5 points, a safety and a damn field goal against that Buccaneers defense, who was, I think, 27th in the league coming into the game. They might be number one now. Nah, they ain't, but they couldn't stay off of Russell Wilson if they tried that offensive line. I mentioned it to Ben Troupe. They got a cat that played basketball in college, and his last year he's like, let me try this football thing. Played tight end, went to a pro day, and the Seattle Seahawks, being what they are, they're up in Seattle, where they do all that wacky stuff up there, and everyone's free love, and it's like, what'd be awesome? Well, take this dude and make him a left tackle. Not even the right tackle, like to hide him a little bit. The left tackle. Yeah, that's awesome. The Patriots squeaked one out. They squeaked one out. What's the past tense of squeak? Squeaked one out against the Patriots. Against the Jets. That bad squad. It's time for them to go ahead and go into tank mode, man. They got to get them a quarterback. And next year, we're going to be looking at Browning. I'm looking at Deshaun Watson, that kid from North Carolina, Brad Kaya, Deshaun Kaiser. It's going to be a couple quarterbacks for people who need them. You know what I'm saying? Wait, they do? Wait, who did that? Renee said the playoffs started in week 15. What week are we in now? In the NFL? God. Week 15? We're in week 30. Are you sure, Renee? Renee is telling me the playoffs start in week 15 in our league. God. It's going to suck. But I got a bunch of players on bad teams, though. Like, I got, like DeMarco Murray, Melvin Gordon. I got, what's the other kid? Like, Terrell Pryor. His ass going to be playing. Yeah, all my dudes going to be really playing. Ben Roethlisberger, unless he get hurt. So I'm good. I don't really have a bunch of dudes from, good-ass teams, but just got, good individual players. So, yeah, disregard everything I said about fantasy football from this point forward, all the way back into the point where I was bragging about being in first place now. Start there. All right. The Panthers and the Raiders. The Raiders squawked one out. I'm just going to keep saying squawk, even though it squeaked one out against the Panthers. That Panther squad, man. Every game that they won last year in, crazy fashion, they're losing all of them this year. They can't take the football away. And that's one of those things I try to tell people all the time, man, that when teams, lead and turnovers, you can't predict those things. That's the bounce of the football, man. It's and then, yesterday, the Falcons took on the Cardinals. They're, the number one team in total defense. Screw all that. That's bullcrap. None of that matters. You know what you want to be every year? What the Seattle Seahawks are for the last 3 years. The number one scoring defense. That's your job as a defense. You keep people out the end zone and give your squad a chance to win ball games. All that other crap, passing efficiency, first and rush defense, and all that kind of craziness, whatever. Scoring defense is the number one defense to me. Last night, we saw beauty. I liked the game I saw last night. The Chiefs and the Broncos was good stuff to me. We saw guys like Justin Houston, second game back, wreaking havoc. Feel me? Of course, not DeMarcus Ware. Vaughn Miller, young cat, Shane Ray, those corners back there. Akeem Talib got his lunch took on that little kid, Tyrell. What's the kid's name? Tyrell or something? Tyreek Hill. Oh, my God. On that little jet sweep, whatever he ran. That kid scored in every way possible almost. A kick return. He caught one. He ran one in. And then the internet happened. The internet found some of this dude's tweets from back in the day. Some of his kind of unsavory tweets from back in the day. Do they have dates on them? No dates on these. Yeah, they do. 2012. Let's start in May. He says, I want some wet pool. That's what he wants, some kitty. In June, the young man says, I love sex. And in August, there we go. Yeah, I just ate her, he kissed her, and ate her booty. I don't know what this dude is into. Instead of turning up last night, LAH night, we just effed bees. This dude is wide open, dude. Oh, like who does this? Like, who sees this dude go on like a record-breaking all-time performance and says, you know what? I wonder if he tweeted about effing bees. He did. Now I'll post it to take every bit of shine off of his great afternoon. Let's do that. God, I hate you guys, man. I hate like all this stuff. I wish it would just go away. Oh, did y'all hear about this? Did y'all hear about the NFL? Early today, it was reported by Mike Florio and the folks over at NFL Pro Football Talk that the league was considering giving Thursday Night Football to X. As I look for the article here, because Mike Florio went into some pretty detailed-ish about this damn stuff, and I came back, did my little last-minute cleanup before the show, and found out that wasn't the case. So Mike Florio says the league realizes that with every team playing once on a short week each season, many of the Thursday night games necessarily will have reduced appeal. Adding extra primetime games to Sunday and Monday inventory also has created a sense that the league has saturated the marketplace with a standalone evening games. This is true. Options include, but aren't limited to, getting rid of Thursday games completely and possibly starting the package at Thanksgiving and continuing it through the end of the season, with games likely to generate broad interest selected in April for November-December programming. Thursday Night Football debuted a decade ago as a device for providing game content for NFL Network, allowing the league-owned operation to generate higher fees for cable and satellite providers. As the source explained, the money generated from NFL Network due to the annual slate of exclusive games isn't large enough to make an impediment to broader efforts to strike the right balance between giving national audiences enough but not too much pro football, and to ensure that the games played in prime time are truly worthy of being seen. Now, I saw that this morning, and I was like, hell yeah. Like I told y'all the other day, I'm good. I got my football. I got my basketball now. Basketball started up. If I want to look at sports on Thursday, sweet. I'm in the building, right? I'm going to watch basketball. Tonight, we got tonight's Monday, but we got the Warriors and the Hawks. I get to watch the Hawks, and I get to watch the Warriors, though. I like watching the Hawks play basketball, but I like watching the Warriors better. So if I can see both at the same time, sweet. So anyway, as I'm getting ready for the show, I always do like one last sweep over what's going on to make sure I ain't miss nothing. And just so happened I did. Well, I didn't miss it. It just came late. That's what she said too. That the NFL is saying, hell no. They said, I think the wording was, we're quote unquote fully committed to the Thursday night thing. It's like, God, man, at some point, man, you just got to take a L. You know what I'm saying? At some point, you got to realize, man, people don't want this. Like, we'll take it because why? It's football, right? But if I had the opportunity to say, all right, do I want bad football or basketball? Or decent basketball, early season basketball. You know what I'm taking? Basketball every time. I want to see dudes, Luke Kuechly crying on the field because he concussed, and dudes breaking their ACLs and all that because they ain't had time to recover, and folks is out there playing lazily and not at full attention. Nah, I'm good, but NFL, man, they not about to take an L on this situation at all, man. Good God almighty. Let me make sure I get everything out for the night. Oh, the Hawks lost to the Lakers last night, and then apparently Dwight Howard wanted to fight. some dude called him a B, and Dwight Howard was like, yeah, come down here and say it, because I'm 7 foot. And Like, come on, dude, you ain't that guy. You know what I mean? It's like, and then also, man, your sensitive ass, like, what you expect was gonna happen? You went to L.A. feeling like you was gonna get Kobe shine, and then when you couldn't get it, you turned into a little B about it, understanding that it was a pecking order, and Kobe was like way at the top, and you had to earn your stripes with that dude. It was too much. You went and played with a Kobe-like guy, and James Harden couldn't deal with it. Like this Atlanta situation, not for the fact that he's at the crib and he's at back home, but it's pretty much, man, what a dude with that kind of mental makeup needs. You know what I'm saying? Like he's in that place where, like he can be the de facto star because there isn't one, and then everything that happens can just be spoken about in a systematic way. Whereas if he doesn't get the basketball, it's not because James Harden is hogging it. If he don't get the basketball, it's just because the play wasn't open. The movement wasn't there. The play was designed to do something else because it's Coach Bud's system. That's the perfect place for him, because if any time he feels like he's in a position where somebody's getting more shine than him, it's like, yeah, he turned into a real girl about it, man. It's real off-putting. He's too good and too talented of a basketball player to be acting like that, and not being self-aware enough. Like that's been my problem with Dwight for the longest. Like people say I don't like Dwight, or Dwight is this. Not me personally, but like other people don't like the dude, or they call him, like this dude call him the B word. I just think he's just not self-aware. I think he is now because it's easy to be. But when Kobe said to him, you can be like our DeAndre Jordan, Dwight wanted folks running plays for him. To use what moves, cuz? What moves you got that somebody's going to, like, call your play? None. You rim run, you block shots, you catch alley-oops. And every now and then somebody will feed you something for a little weak-ass jump hook to keep you happy. That's the game. That's who DeAndre Jordan is. He making all-star appearances off that joint, and in all-state commercials and all. I mean, outside the fact that my man had to wear a blonde wig and flats and a body dress, but hey, if you like it, I love it, I guess, right? So as far as tonight goes, we already underway. You got the Kings, Boogie Cousins, and them. That Kings thing is weird to me, man. Like, how are you the Kings and like I'm not gonna trade Boogie? You got a good player and you terrible. At some point, you got to say, I got to start over. Not even like doing it for him or like pacifying him, but just get pieces, man, and then try to build from that, because he's not going to be the building block, apparently. Another uberly talented guy. But, yeah, come on, dude. You winning 20-something, 30 games a year. It's time to let that, it's time to LIG, man. You got to let it go. Because, and then the team still ain't really even relevant other than when Boogie loses a little bit and have a little tantrum or whatnot. Also, you got the Thunder taking on the Knicks right now. Russ on a triple-double tear. Y'all think about him, man. It's like a dude like that, and we got to get a basketball guy on, because I gotta share some of these basketball thoughts that are in my mind. Like, I love watching that dude play. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I mean? Because it's just so frenetic and so energetic. It's like I don't think you can help but falling into a trance when it comes to this dude. But I always wondered, like, being in the position that he's in now and playing as hard as he is and that fire burning as hot as it burns, how long? It's 82 games, B. Like, how long can you continue to do that and continue to go out there and take the amount of shots, triple-doubles, dunking the ball like you hate everything in life? I'm going to be interested to see that. And, of course, it looks like, with the Knicks, without it being said, the Knicks have come to an understanding that this isn't Carmelo's team. This definitely isn't D Rose's team. It sure as hell ain't Joakim Noah's team. This is Kristaps Porzingis' team, man. And where he goes, they'll go. Triangle or not, it's going to go down that way. The process, the 76ers and the Raptors, I think the league's leading scorer. I think he's still the league's leading scorer. If it's not him, it's James Harden. But DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry going out there to take on Joel Embiid. And my man, what's the kid's name, man? The kid from Duke. What the hell is his name, man? Oh, God. I wanted to call him Jabari Parker, but that's the other kid from Duke. what the hell is that kid? The kid that was fighting last year outside the club, the big kid from Duke. Anyway, Al Horford and the Sixers. Sixers. Al Horford and the Celtics taking on the Heat at 7:30. The Hornets, my man, Kemba taking on the Grizz down there in the Grindhouse at 8 o'clock. The Jazz got the Timberwolves. That dude Andrew Wiggins just banged on homeboy from the Warriors. The other JaVale McGee got all of the business the other day. And like I mentioned, 10:30, man, the Hawks and the Warriors. Before I go, I told you guys I was gonna try to get this in, man. My thing, my what you looking at? Hey. My what you looking at? Really, my what you looking at for the night is what I'm not looking at. You know what I mean? And Renee brought it to my attention earlier. She asked me about the show Insecure with Issa Rae. I guess she's like the producer and the creator of the show. And I've been kind of soured on the show for the last couple of weeks, man. You know what I mean? Like, I sold it to you guys real big. You know what I mean? Jalil Okafor, thank you guys. I sold it to you guys at the beginning because it was like crazy funny. You know, it was cool to see like these black women kind of like not taking themselves ultra seriously and kind of, you know, still exploring the issues that black women go through in day-to-day life, working around white people or, you know, switching it up between, you know, being real or, you know, keeping it real and still, you know, working in a professional environment, the finding your significant other issues and all that. But they found a way to put that into a funny package, man. Something that I was like, okay, this is cool. But like since the second episode, man, things done got like crazy heavy on the show. Like crazy, like way past heavy, man. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, dude, I wasn't prepared for this. Like, I want to laugh, dude. Like, where's my man? Like the gang member. You know, what you MFers doing with that pouch? that cat. If you won't get that, what I just said if you ain't seen the show. But so Renee asked me if I watch it today, and I'm like, it's on the DVR. It might get some spin when I get some time, but I'm not rushing to see what's going on. Like Shawty already done cheated on her dude, and then, you know, start crying like she was the victim, and then she didn't fill out with her homegirl because she done told a black woman she needs therapy. Of course, not realizing that all therapy means for black women is go to church. Same thing. That's what y'all do. You go let pastor work it out. So yeah, it's just gotten like real kind of like there's no good mix, man, of like still being able to explore. To me, there's no mix of exploring the issues because I think there's some real interesting things that go on. I don't have time to do it today, but I wanted to kind of ask Renee about this, man. Like the one chick, Molly, like the stuff that she's on, man, is that like, it just seemed weird that, you know, like a woman in her position, because like Renee is a professional, you know what I mean? And, you know, not telling her business, but she ain't married or nothing, and she seemed to be good with it. You know what I mean? Like, but this chick, it's almost like this beautiful, successful woman on this show is needing to, I don't know, to justify her success. And the only way to do it is to find the perfect man. And there's this ongoing quest for this perfect guy. And it's like, come on, man. Is that what's really popping in 2016 with the successful black woman? You know what I mean? I mean, my woman's successful, but she got me. And I mean, I ain't really saying much, I don't guess, but you know, good for me, I guess. But it ain't one of them things like I wouldn't want to believe that if she didn't have me, something would be, there'd be a void, or there'd be some sort of incompletion, or there'd be some sort of, you know, mental break that she would need to have to accept the fact that it's okay. I mean, it's okay for you just to be that chick, and if you get horny and you need to go bang somebody, hey, just be an adult, be responsible about it. You know, get your rocks off and then go back to living your life. You know, this is another place. Before I go, this is another place where tradition and all that foolishness comes in. It's only tradition that tells women they can't do that. You know what I mean? That a woman just can't be a sexual human being without it being with one man all the time. Yeah, dude, that's bull crap. You know, like if a dude can do it, a woman can do it. I say the same thing to everybody, and I have for years. Like, just be careful, man. Just, you know, do the responsible things that adults do, so that you ain't, you ain't strapped with this other person for the next 18 years if you don't want to be, or strapped with something else for the rest of your life that you definitely don't want to be. Feel me? That's all it's about. Do what you do, man. And, like, stop, like, because you mad your girl gonna call you a slut, or some dude is gonna be like, oh, man, Shawty banged me on the first night. I can't respect her. Here's a newsflash, women, before I leave. That's something that women made up to shame other women. Real dudes, like, you give a real dude some on the first night, yeah, just listen to that Love Below interlude. Where he's like, she know what she want out of life. You damn right. And there it is, dating advice on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Appreciate you guys, man. It's another decent one. I felt the need, man, to do better than I did Friday. That Friday situation was toilet bowl material. You understand? Horse crap. So hopefully tonight, I feel a little bit better about tonight's show than I did about Friday, to be honest with you. And hopefully I feel better about Wednesday's show than I feel about this one. Wednesday, the homie Matt Latofsky is going to join me. We're going to get ready for this playoff run, which apparently don't start for a couple of weeks. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This fantasy football playoff run, you guys can always get in touch with me and shoot me your fantasy football questions. 404-902-8104 is the number to do that. You can also email them to me, Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. You can also tweet them or Instagram them to me at onemicwithbigmike.com. Also use that same handle for Facebook or whatnot. The show is available on demand in audio and video version. You can do so on... You dudes are idiots, man. What? His wife can't do anything. Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, TuneIn, onemicwithbigmike.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the iTunes, follow me on Google Play and on TuneIn and all those things, man. And until Wednesday, man, like I say every show, this is kind of like my thing now. I kind of found my thing. Y'all guys and girls, y'all be safe out there, and I hope to talk to you guys on Hump Day. Take care.